after
This
the death of
conference will now be recorded.
After Babak's death, yes, after Khurram's movement's failure, that's after approximately 30 years later, and then Azerbaijan got independence. Independent state emerged in Azerbaijan, the following Khurram's movement. Okay, good. So what was their main purpose, Malaj? The main purpose was get independence, yes, but they had also another purpose. What was that? Do you remember?
Sorry, I was in the kitchen. I didn't hear anything.
Okay, let me repeat my question. So one of the purpose of Babach Khurramid movement,
Yeah.
remember? So was to get independence, yes, to make Azerbaijan independent state. So they had also another purpose. What was that? Do you remember?
Oh, was it peace?
Peace. Let's say they wanted to create a just society, yes.
Yeah, fair
Kind of society. Yeah, everyone is equal to each other's. Yes, social welfare, let's say. Yeah, they had two purposes, but their ultimate purpose was, of course, the Azerbaijan. Yes. So they failed, but actually, as a result of the Khurramid movement, Arabian Empire was really actually affected from the Khurramid movement. In different parts of Arabian Empire, the protest uprisings happened in different parts of the Arabian Empire, which significantly weakened Arabian Empire. And after, let's say, 30 years, then Azerbaijan, in Azerbaijan, our Azerbaijani leaders created their own independent states. Okay, that's all. So let's start our new topic. So, guys, do you know what is epic poetry? Yeah, epic poetry.
No, I don't know what epic poetry means.
You are in the 6th grade, yes, in UK. That's cool.
Yeah.
6th or 5th grade? Seventh
It's
grade.
called.
Okay.
It's called years. In England you call it years. In America you call it grades.
Grades? Okay. Good.
I'm in year 8.
I understand. Okay. So, guys, epic poetry actually is. Let's first of all understand what is epic. The epic is an ancient Greek word. It comes from ancient Greek language. The meaning of it is epikos means the narrative long story or tale. Ayhan, how are you?
Good.
Okay. So once again, epic it comes from ancient Greek language. The meaning of it is narrative long story. Yeah, but why we are talking about epic poetry today? So the reason is that epic poetry is usually talking about the history of ancient nation. Let's say that, for example, Azerbaijanis or British people. That yes. So that's why that epic poetry is very important for each nation. If any nation has their own epic poetry, it shows their cultural, it shows the richness of their culture. Yes. So, what is the main topic, main story in epic poetry? Epic poetry is talking about the heroic deeds or heroic actions, adventures of a legendary person, one person, and this person actually tries to protect his home country from the enemies. He shows great courage and kill actually enemies. So shows great courage. Yes, he's a legendary person actually and heroic person. So this heroic person can be representative of one nation, and the whole destiny of the nation actually depends his failure or the victory over enemy. If he fails over the enemy, the whole nation will be would fall under the control of another nation, yes, enemy. So enemy would occupy the territory of country or state. So that's why. So the one person, heroic person's actions is important, and if so it present actual heroic moral values. Actually, let's say, for example, I'll not talk about first Azerbaijan epic poetries. Let's start with the epic poetry in UK. So have you ever heard about Beowulf? Beowulf, yes. Have you heard about Beowulf? UK, the British epic poetry. Yes, I can. You haven't. But why, guys? Jal, what about you? Have you heard about the epic poetry, Beowulf?
No.
No. Oh, okay, good. So, guys, epic poetry, as I mentioned before, it shows the cultural richness of each nation. Yes, each nation actually has their own poetry. If they don't have, it means that their culture, their history is not going to the old times. Yes, ancient times. For example, epic poetry, the British epic poetry is called a Beowulf. So Beowulf, in the poem, Beowulf is the name of the person. He fights against the enemies of British people, and this is symbolic character. Actually, not the real character, as you see, the monsters and the enemies of Beowulf are Grendel, as you see, symbolic character, and Grendel, his mother, and Beowulf alone fights against three enemies of his country. He tries to protect England from the enemies. Yeah, so at the end of story, actually, the Beowulf achieves to defeat his enemies and kill his enemies, Grendel, and Grendel's mother, and King Hrothgar. I don't know how can I pronounce it. Okay, so why it is important for us? Let's say not for us, but for the English, the British people, yes, because of, guys, Beowulf epic poetry. Actually, it tells the people, the British people, a lot about their life of Anglo-Saxon tribes, yes, because Anglo-Saxon tribes are the ancestors of British people, yes. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Anglo-Saxons, yeah. So, but what about our ancestors? Who are our ancestors, guys? Azerbaijanis. Our ancestors are Oghuz Turks. Oghuz Turks. They are one of the oldest tribes living in Azerbaijan. Oghuz Turks. Look. Oghuz Turks. Yeah. So, once again, guys, what is the main topic in epic poetry? Did you understand? Malaj, what's the main topic, main issue in, let's say, in epic poetry?
I'm sorry, I
The,
didn't
the,
hear
the,
the question.
the protagonist of the story, epic poetry, he tries to protect his homeland, yes, from the enemies. But epic poetry is not real, guys. It is just symbolic, yes. The protagonist or personage are not real. They are just extraordinary
Fiction.
superpowers, yes, fiction, let's say. So like Superman, yes, the fiction, yes, that's. But what is the purpose? The epic poetry is written to show the next generation how their ancestors lived in the past. Okay, how they protected their countries, how they love their countries, respected to their countries. Is that clear? For example, Beowulf is talking about an ancient British people, how they lived in the past, how they created United Kingdom. Let's say not United Kingdom, but the first England state, yes, and how they protected their homeland from the enemies. Beowulf, let's say, is the president of UK, let's say, and the enemies are the neighboring countries tries to occupy England. Yes, that's all. So, but what about Azerbaijan? So, but for example, epic poems. Different nations have their own poems, epic poetries. For example, the oldest epic poetry is called Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh. For example, in ancient Greek, the epic poetry was called Iliad and Odyssey, which was written by Homer. In England, I already mentioned it's called Beowulf. In India, epic poetry is called Mahabharata and Ramayana. And in Azerbaijan, the epic poet, we have several epic poetries actually, but the most important one is Kitabi Dada Gorgud, yeah, and Çoroglu. Have you ever heard about the Kitabi Dada Gorgud and Çoroglu epos, epic poetries?
I have.
Ah, okay. Can you please give us brief information about that?
I actually heard it a long time ago, so I don't really remember it that much, but I remember something about Dada Gorgud.
Dada Gorgud is actually, let's say, the one of the person who are respected by, in society among the Azerbaijanis because he is smart and he usually gives wise advice to the people. That's why everyone respects Dada Gorgud's opinions. And so that it's called Kitabi Dada Gorgud because most of the stories is actually Dada Gorgud is actually Dada Gorgud tells most of the stories in Kitabi Dada Gorgud epic poetry. That's why. So, but when Kitabi Dada Gorgud actually, guys, so that this epic poetry before printing as a book, it was actually in 7th and 9th, between 7th and 9th centuries, it was spread in Azerbaijan orally, yes, before turning it into the book, yeah. So then in 11th century, by means of Ozan. Ozan was a singer. Let me show the picture. So you see, he is Ozan, yes. Ozan was a singer, and he was telling the story to the people orally, not in written form, yes, in the book. So, but in 11th century, all stories collected and then printed as a book in 11th century. It is one of the oldest book actually in Azerbaijan history. So why it is important for us, Kitabi Dada Gorgud? Because Kitabi Dada Gorgud, first of all, it tells us about our ancestors. Who was our ancestor? Our ancestors were Oghuz Turks, Azerbaijanis, and the Turkish people, modern Turkish people. Yes, both of us are Oghuz Turks. Yes, our actually ancestors are the same, Oghuz Turks, Oghuzlar, Oghuz Türkleri. Okay, so and it gives information how our Oghuz Turks live in the past, how they respected to each others, and they love their country, how they protected their homeland, yes, from the enemies. So that's all. So this book, guys, Kitabi Dada Gorgud, actually consists of two books, the old books actually. So until 19th century, none of these books known to the actually how can I say scholars or scientists. And in 1815, a German scholar, Henrik von Diels, he found the first manuscript of Kitabi Dada Gorgud in Germany in Dresden library. So he printed this manuscript, and he found one story in the book. It was called Basat and Tepegöz. It is the same story, guys. Let's compare Basat and Tepegöz. Tepegöz is the enemy of Azerbaijanis, and Basat is the heroic person of Azerbaijanis, let's say king of Azerbaijan states, let's say. So we can compare the Basat with the Beowulf and Tepegöz with the green, what was his name? Greenland. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, let's summarize. The Kitabi Dada Gorgud book actually was printed in 11th century. Then, but it was discovered by the German scientist, German scholar Henrik von Diels in 1815 in Germany. And while he was looking another book, he accidentally discovered Kitabi Dada Gorgud's first manuscript. So that he read the first. He read and translated one of the story, which was called Tepegöz and Basat. Basat was the heroic person of Azerbaijani Oghuz Turks, Tapajos was the enemy of Azerbaijanis, but none of them were real character actually. They were symbolic characters depicting how Azerbaijani Oghuz Turks protected their homeland from the enemies. Is that clear or? Yeah?
Yeah.
Melek, Ayhan, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, actually, so maybe someone will ask you a question, why Kitabi Dada Gorgud is important for us? Because guys, why we need to read this book? Because you know, it's one of the oldest book, yes. So there are so many books we need to read rather than Kitabi Dada Gorgud. But first of all, if we want to know our ancestors, if we want to know how can I say how ancestors lived in the past and what was their lifestyle, how was their lifestyle in the past, what kind of moral values they carried. So for example, Kitabi Dada Gorgud, when I recommend to read Kitabi Dada Gorgud, my student usually come and tell me that teacher, actually in this book there are so many the moral values represented in Kitabi Dada Gorgud. For example, love to your country, humanism, yes, humanism, patriotism, yes. The respect to older people, yes. This kind of moral value is actually represented in Kitabi Dada Gorgud. That's why, although it is one of the oldest book, yes, so it doesn't fit with our times, but we need to understand how was the lifestyle of our ancestors. So as well as the moral values is I think is much more important, because it doesn't tell anything anything bad. Yes, it's almost talking about the good things, let's say, that nothing else. Okay, good. So you know, it's actually one of the Kitabi Dada. When it comes to Kitabi Dada Gorgud, who was Dada Gorgud? As I mentioned before, he was one of the most respected person now among the Azerbaijanis. So everyone in Azerbaijan respected to him as a wise person or smart person, and got advice from Dada Gorgud whenever they experience trouble. The Gorgud always helped people to solve their problems. That's why everyone respected Dada Gorgud. Actually, it's estimated that Dada Gorgud lived at the same period with Prophet Muhammad. So if I'm not mistaken, even they met with each other. So the Kitabi Dada Gorgud epos gives us a lot of information, historical Azerbaijani lands. There are information about Nakhchivan, Yerevan, Karabakh, yes. These areas are shown as Azerbaijani territories, yes. It's actually strong evidence against Armenians' territorial claims to us, because Kitabi Dada Gorgud shows that Azerbaijani Oghuz Turks were living in Yerevan, Nakhchivan, Joyta Lake, and then the surrounding areas. So Azerbaijan actually celebrated the 1030 years anniversary of Kitabi Dada Gorgud in 2000. Actually, so this is one of the brilliant example of folklore and cultural heritage of Azerbaijan. Actually, okay, guys, that's all. This is you see, this is original the original version of Kitabi Dada Gorgud, Dresden manuscript, discovered by Henry von Dies, German scientist. Now, as you see, it's written in Arabic language. Yes. So you may ask question why it was written in Arabic language, not Azerbaijani Turkish. Yeah.
When it was first made, was there like pictures on it, or just writing?
What I didn't get. Sorry. Can you please repeat?
When the book was discovered, was there like not writing? Was there like pictures on it, or was it just writing?
No, of course no. There wasn't any picture. That's just written the book. So how can I say? You mean this picture?
museum.
You mean this picture?
Yeah.
That Passat and Tepegöz? No, of course. No, of course. No.
That's
Did like is the original copy of the book in a museum?
Yeah, it is in Dresden actually, not in Azerbaijan, in Dresden, Germany. Both of them. One of them is in Vatican in Italy. Another one is in Dresden actually. If
So
I'm
there's
not
two
mistaken,
originals.
yes, two original books, but actually they are not the same books. What it's one of them. The how can I say? The part one and part two, let's say. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that actually recently in Uzbekistan, the scientists found the third part of this book, the original book, if I'm not mistaken. But guys, my question is, why do you think this book had been written in Arabic alphabet, not Azerbaijani?
Oh, because
is it
back
because
then they only
Hmm?
knew Arabic.
Yeah, of course, the Azerbaijanis, guys. So at that time, Azerbaijan was under the control of Arabian Empire, yes. So
Yeah.
we have used Arabic alphabet more than 1,000 years, guys. Can you imagine? But
because
it doesn't mean that. But
because
yeah,
because they took control of Azerbaijan and
yes.
they just
Yeah,
made
so
everything
not only
theirs.
Azerbaijan, the majority of Muslim countries use Arabic alphabet for a long period of time, actually, guys. So Azerbaijan only moved to the Latin alphabet in 1929. We use Arabic alphabet more than 1,000 years. So, but it doesn't mean that our language was Arabic language, guys. We just use Arabic alphabet, yes. For example, yeah, Kitabi Dada Gorgud had been written in Arabic alphabet, but the language was the Turkish language. Yes, you understand? Its alphabet and it's only Arabic alphabet. If you know Arabic alphabet, you can understand the Kitabi Dada Gorgud's
I do.
original version. Okay,
You don't
good.
understand, but you can read it.
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah. You can?
Yes.
You know Arabic language? Oh, good.
No, we don't know.
We don't know it, but we can read it.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, guys, good. As far as I know, the English language has also the oldest version of English language. Yes, it's not easy to understand. For example, there is a Canterbury Tales. Yes, have you heard about it? Canterbury Tales? Jeffrey Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, English writer. No. Okay.
No.
Jeffrey Joseph, Canterbury Tales. It has been written in ancient English language. I tried to read the original version of this book, but frankly speaking, it wasn't so easy to understand. Yeah, because that's not the modern English language actually.
When you say ancient British language, do you mean like language around the 16th
Before
and the
Shakespeare.
15th century, or is it
No,
like
before Shakespeare in 13th and 14th century.
Okay.
Because the modern English language formed after the Shakespeare, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's do quiz together, and so that I have prepared a number of questions. So I hope that will help us to grasp the topic very well. Okay. So, but I think that we should do together these questions. First of all, yeah. So the make comparison between two epic poems, Beowulf and Passat and Tepegöz. What explain do you see similarities between them? Beowulf and Passat and Tepegöz. One of them is Azerbaijani epic poetry. Yes. And the second one is Beowulf in UK.
Is Beowulf English?
Yes, it's English epic poetry. Yeah, but Passat and Tepegöz is from Azerbaijani epic poetry. Kitabi Dada Gorgud. Yes. What is similarities between them?
They're both epic poems.
Yeah, both of them are epic poems, but what else? Both of them represents
They're both
what?
fictional.
Yeah.
It's
Both of
all epic poems, fictional. All of the poems.
fictional, yes. The characters are not real and they are symbolic characters, yes. But what is the main topic in both of them, Jalil? What's the main topic?
Like okay.
Wait, what?
So what is the similarity between Beowulf and Basat and Tepegöz? Both of them is talking about what?
Like past civilizations and like
Yeah.
past what
And how,
happened
yes.
before.
One heroic person tries to protect his homeland, yes, from the enemies. Who's enemy?
Yeah.
Let's say. So
They're both like heroes.
yeah, heroes, and their extraordinary superpowers, and the heroic person fights against them, and to fight against them, and then try to protect his homeland. For example, Basat was a heroic person of us. He was from Oghuz Turks. He would try to protect his homeland from the Tepegöz. Tepegöz was superpower, extraordinary superpower, and he had one eye, and as you see, and he had killed many people in and where Basat was living, actually in Basat's homeland. So Basat decided to fight against Tepegöz. You know, it's not possible, yes, to defeat so huge creature. Let's say Tepegöz
I've
was.
read Tepegöz.
Yeah. So you think it's the exaggeration? I think it's exaggeration, yes. But why it is so exaggerated by the author of the Kitabi Dada Gorgud? Because they wanted to tell us how our ancestors were brave, yes, how they protected their homeland, so, how they loved their own country. That's why even they sacrificed their lives for the home country. Yes, hero. It's that patriotism. It actually so represents some moral values such as patriotism, even, let's say. Okay. So one of the following statements, Ayhan, question number 2. One of the following statements is not about the Kitabi Dada Gorgud.
You may
Yeah.
choose more than one option.
Yes, of course.
It is about Oghuz Turks. The epic
Yes.
poem was written in Arabic language. The first manuscript of book was found in National Library in 1815. It was spread orally in Azerbaijani lands between BII and between 7 to 9 centuries.
Which one is correct? Actually, 2 of them must be correct. Actually, I think it's about Oghuz Turks.
It's not correct. 2 because 2 was written in Arabic
Alphabet, yes, not language. Yeah, you are right. Yeah. So correct. Then first manuscript of book was found in Dresden. Yes, is it correct? In Germany.
It's
yes.
4.
Yeah, it's correct. You are right. So Dresden and
4.
It had 2 manuscripts.
Is it 4 and is it 4 and 1? No. It's 4 and 3. 4 and 3.
1, 3. About Oghuz Turks, and the epic poem was written in Arabic language. The first book was found in Dresden Library in 1845. What's the problem here? I think we have only one answer, except that 2. Yeah, we have only one incorrect answer. The epic poem was written in Arabic language.
Is it 1, 3, and 4?
No, not. I'm not asking correct options. The incorrect option.
Oh, the incorrect option
only
is 2. Yeah.
It was spread orally in all Azerbaijani lands between.
I thought you meant choose the correct.
Yeah, Melech.
Yes.
Question number 4.
What are the main features of epic poetry? You can choose more than one option. It's a long narrative poem. It represents heroic qualities such as courage, loyalty, and honor.
Is it correct?
All
Which one?
characters are really. So the first one and the second one.
Is correct, yes. All character is
Yes.
real, but it's not correct, yes. But what about force
Yeah.
and fifth? Force and fifths book?
Uh,
Destiny of whole nation depends on hero's failure and victory over the enemies. Is it correct?
yes.
What would happen if Passat wouldn't kill the Tapajos? Most probably Azerbaijani land had been occupied, yes. That's why, so it's important, guys. So destiny of whole nation depends on hero's failure or victory over enemies. So main character dies at the end of epic poetry without defeating enemy. Is it correct? Manage? No. Why? Because
They
if he
defeat the
dies,
enemy.
yes, if he dies, what is the point? So the main topic of epic poetry is to show how we protect our, how we achieve to defeat enemy. Yeah. So yeah, manuscript and Vatican. Question number 8, Jalil. Yeah, no, 9, please. Question number 9.
Patriotism. Is number 9.
Yeah, what moral values are represented in epic poetries?
Patriotism.
Patriotism, yes. Then what else? Respect to
The country, nation.
Nation and elder people, and then love to your country. Then what else? This kind of moral values, yes. So good. And the most important one is patriotism, of course. I think the most important one is patriotism. Ayhan, question number 11, please.
Yes.
11.
One of the following statements is not about book of Dada Gorgud. We know who wrote Kitabi Dada Gorgud.
Do we know who wrote Kitabi Dada Gorgud? Did I tell you?
I think you did.
No, we don't know.
You said like you said scientist, I think.
No, he found, he discovered it. He didn't write it, he discovered it, the book.
Oh.
But we don't know who wrote this book. Not only Kitabi Dada Gorgud, but we don't know who wrote Beowulf actually. Because first it was passed through mouth to mouth orally, then someone collected all tellings and stories and wrote all of them in one book. Okay, but we don't know who. Because there is no anyone writes this the story.
There's more than one.
Yeah. So okay, Tapajos is symbolic.
But two of the books were found.
Is correct or not? Tapajos symbolic character, yes. No. Tapajos is symbolic character and represents enemies of Augustus. Yes.
They wrote a lot of books, but two of them were only found. Only two were found.
So 3, Book of the Kitabi gives us detailed information about our ancestors. Is it correct? Does it give us information about our ancestors? Of course, yes. But we will learn about our ancestors, our histories, how they lived. Okay, not only us, but also British people. Yeah, they learn about the Anglo-Saxon tribes from the Beowulf. Okay, Beowulf epic poetry.
For Rossi translated and published one of the stories from Book of Dada Gorgud under the name of Basrat of Tabagos tree.
Yeah, Basset and Tabagos. Yeah, Ettore Rossi, no or yes? No, Ettore Rossi, actually German scientist.
Yep. 4 is true.
Discovered. Yeah, Henrik one Dias. Good. Oh, yeah, Melech. Kitabi Dada Gorgud is a heroic epic poem. Question number 14, please.
Kitabi Dada
Gorgud.
Gorgud is a heroic epic poem of
Who? Of who?
of the Gorgud.
What? Who were our ancestors? For example,
They were August Turks.
August Turks. Okay, yes, you are right. Do you know where August Turks live today in the world?
Turkey?
In Turkey, in Azerbaijan, and in Moldova. So there are Gagauz Turks, Oghuz Turks. They live in Moldova, so they have also autonomy. And so if you watch video on YouTube, so you understand that their language is very close to Azerbaijani language because they are Oghuz Turks. Oghuz Turks usually understand easily each other because their ancestors, their language is the same. Do you understand me? Oghuz Turks, Gagauz Turks, modern Turkish people, and Azerbaijanis are Oghuz Turks. Our ancestors are same. But the question is that do they accept Kitabi Dede Gorgud as their own epic poetry? Most probably yes, because they are also Oghuz Turks. Kitabi Dede Gorgud is not only Azerbaijan's epic poetry. It belongs to all Oghuz Turks in the world. Yeah. Good. What else left? So it's important this fact. Yeah. Jalil, question number 3. Can you please tell me the answer of this question?
Kitabi Dede Gorgud tells about the events that took place in large areas from Derbent to Diyarbakir.
Caspian Sea to Trabzon. So largest areas, the larger areas from the Turkey to Azerbaijan Caspian Sea. Then it's talking about larger areas. So yes, what is the importance of it? So the names of Karabakh, Joycha, Nakhchivan, Yerevan, and Azerbaijani lands are also mentioned in Kitabi Dede Gorgud. What is the importance of this fact for us today? For example, Karabakh, Nakhchivan, Yerevan. The Yerevan is actual Armenian capital city, yes. But the Gorgud says that, the Gorgud's book says that Azerbaijani Oghuz Turks were living here. Yes? Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is the importance of that for us today? Can we use this as evidence against Armenians' territorial claims to Azerbaijan, or no? Because as you know, the epic poetry does not talk about real facts. Yes, it's a little bit symbolic, so fiction. But it's also historical book, but as well as fiction. But I think that it's mentioned that some Azerbaijani lands names in Kitabi Dede Gorgud, but so it's not strong evidence against Armenians, actually, I think. Yeah, because why?
It's fictional.
It's fictional, yes, you're right. So, but at least it tells something. It tells that it shows our history, actually. That's why we can say something, but it's not strong evidence against Armenians. We need stronger evidence against Armenians, actually. Okay, good. discovered by the books. They discovered this book, Henry. So we didn't answer question number. What will epics from this? So I can. Question number 6.
Yes. What do all epic poems have in common?
What they have in common?
They all have like a hero, and then there's like a bad. There's like a bad person or a bad creature, and then the hero always like saves the people from the bad.
Yes, good. Yes. About what is the end of story?
The hero kills the creature. The hero kills the bad. Good kills bad.
Can we say that? Can we say that Tapajos in or Chabadelago represents Armenians and Basats Azerbaijanis?
Can you say that again, please?
Yep. So that I think no, because you know why? Why I think no? Because Azerbaijan and Armenian conflict does not go to the oldest times. Actually, it is that it dates back to the 19th century, even at the beginning of 20th century. No, not else. Okay, that's why I don't think that Azerbaijans and Armenians had a conflict at the time. So yes, no. So maybe someone else, some other countries. For example, in the past, Azerbaijan was attacked by the Arabs, or Sassanids or Mongols. Then different nations, they attacked our territories and we fought with them. Yes, but not Armenians actually. We didn't have any conflict with Armenians before 19th century or 20th century actually. That's why. Okay. Ettore Roscrit dates back to the 19th century. What else left? Writing a big poem. Now to Kitabi the Gorgud. Malech. So the question number 10.
Another manuscript of the Gorgud was discovered in 1950 by a scientist.
Yeah, scientist Ettore Rossi in where? In one of them was discovered in Dresden, another one in where? In Vatican. Yes. So important, because you have to know where Azerbaijan cultural heritage is kept in the world. Yes. For example, in UK, in Victoria and Albert Museum, our famous historical cultural heritage, Sheikh Safi carpet, is kept in Victoria and Albert Museum. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So, but how they took our carpet to UK? If we don't know how yeah. So not only carpet, yes, but in Victoria Albert Museum we have also one cultural heritage which is kept in Victoria Albert Museum that it is it's a kind of decorative how can I say, the little small monument actually, the sovereign or something like that is kept in Victoria Albert Museum. Kitabi Dada Gorgud in Vatican and Dresden, as well as we have the many cultural heritage in the Hermitage Museum in Moscow or St. Petersburg in Russia. So they almost took our all historical books from the Erdebil and brought to the Russia Hermitage Museum. So that's why, guys. So you need to know where Azerbaijan cultural heritage are kept in the world. Yeah. So okay, I think that's all. So we already answered all the questions. What's important is fact. Raise the manuscript. Raise the manuscript as it was. Yeah. Is it clear? Is topic clear, or do you have any question?
No.
Are you sure? Malech, Jalil.
Wait. when was the book discovered in again?
That 1815 by the German scientist Heinrich von Diez in Germany. He was looking for another book, but suddenly one book attracted his attention, and actually it was very interesting book. So he translated one chapter from this book, which is now under the name of Passat and Tebetjös. It was the first story translated into German language before into Azerbaijan language. Yes, the Germans actually
Yes, I'm ready for that.
yes, they knew this book before us. So during Soviet Union, Azerbaijan lived under the Soviet occupation more than 70 years. So during Soviet occupation, this book and so be brought to Azerbaijan as well and translated Azerbaijani language. So we know that Kitabi Dada Gorgud. But if I'm not mistaken, Kitabi Dada Gorgud had been forbidden for us during the Soviet Union at the beginning because they didn't want us to know about our ancestors, our cultural heritage, our cultural values. That's why they forbid the books to reading by the Azerbaijanis. So that's why we didn't have information about Kitabi Dada Gorgud for a long period of time. Okay, another question, guys. Question, please.
I haven't got any questions.
Very good. Okay, if you don't have a question, so that's all for today. But let me to ask one question from our previous class. Question. Yeah. Do you remember who raised the first red flag in Azerbaijan history?
Was it the Arabs?
No, not Arabs. As Babek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
The red flag means freedom.
What that? Yes, you are right. Freedom. Yes.
Arab freedom.
Yes.
Was it Azerbaijan?
As a symbol of freedom. Yes, he fought against Arabs to gain independence for Azerbaijan. Yes. So
yes.
That's why. So do you remember his famous quote? Babek famous quote. Is it better? It is better to live one day.
It's better to live one day as a free man than live 40 years as a slave.
Yeah, that's famous quote. He mentioned, he answered to his the son who had been captured by the enslaved by the Arabs. He asked his father to surrender to Arabs, but what was his answer? He told that it's better to live as a free man than even one day than living as a slave 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, good.
He also say it's better to live as a freed man for one day than to live for a slave for one day.
Who? I didn't get, sorry.
Couldn't he also say it's better to live as a freed man for one day than to live as a slave for one day?
Free as a one day and slave, one day slaves. Why not? So do you know Bob Marley, famous African music singer? African singer, so Bob Marley. He has also the same quote actually. Maybe he took this quote from the Babek. He also says the same thing actually then. Okay, guys, that's all for today. If you don't have a question, so have a good weekend. Okay, that's all for today. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.